So in school, they actually teach you to speak in a way that is different than how we natives speak in real life. So not only can this leave you speaking a little bit like a robot if you're just relying on what you learn in school, but you're also going to find it very difficult to understand natives. For example, if you want to watch a TV series without subtitles, or if you want to travel to an English-speaking country. So in this lesson today, I'm going to help you to break some of those bad habits that you learned in school, and I'll also be getting a little bit of help to do it, but more on that in a little while. So if you are new here, I wanted to let you know before we jump into the lesson that every week we help you to go beyond the classroom to understand fast-speaking natives, to be able to communicate confidently with anyone, and to connect to the world. So if you want to be able to do any of that, it's really simple. Just hit that subscribe button and the bell down below so you don't miss any of our new lessons. So one of the most important things for you to learn about native English is that we do not emphasize every syllable the same, because this would make us sound like a robot. So what we do instead is we reduce words that we don't consider so important to the meaning of what we're saying. So one example of this that you will find all the time are prepositions. So the first two tips that we'll look at will be two of the most common, the first one being to. So natives will rarely fully pronounce the word to. Instead, we will reduce it to "t," or if it comes after a word ending in a vowel or a D, we'll say "duh." And just a note for you, we're going to look mostly at informal things in this lesson, but in the case of some of them, like these first two, you'll actually find these even in business English and formal settings. So you can use these pretty much anytime, and you'll also hear them all the time. So let's look at some instances of this that you will find all the time. So in school, they probably taught you to say these like Serious Sam. Let's see. Got to, want to, have to, going to. However, it's pretty uncommon that you will hear natives speak this way. Most natives will actually speak like my friend, Street Stan. Yeah, man, I'd say like gotta, wanna, gonna, have to. So maybe you already know about those ones, so let's look at a couple more examples that might be a bit more surprising for you. Turn to page 20. Turn to page 20. He's traveling to New York. He's traveling to New York. I need to go to the store. I need to go to the store. So the next preposition that we're going to look at is of. Now, natives don't usually pronounce it in this way. We would say simply of or a. Now, in school, I'm sure that they probably taught you to say it this way. Kind of. Well, that's weird, because I'd actually say kinda. Let's check out some more examples. It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. Word of mouth. Word of mouth. She is the Queen of England. She's the Queen of England. I cannot get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. Now, the next 5 things that they taught you to say wrong in school have to do with vocabulary. That is, the words that natives actually don't use that often. So the first 2 that we'll look at have to do with how you can start a conversation more like a native. Now in school, they probably taught you to start a conversation like this. Hello, how are you? What? Natives almost never say that. So how should you actually start a conversation? Here are some better ways that you can do it. So if I see a buddy of mine, I'd probably say hi, hey, yo, what's up? Or I might even say, what's crackin'? What's happening? Or if I haven't seen them in a while, I'd say, long time no see. Now, saying how are you is okay if you're in a formal setting, but what if you're hanging out with friends and you don't want to sound unnatural? How are things? How's it going? How have you been? How are things going? How's life? How's it hanging? Okay, now maybe someone asks you one of those questions. So how should you respond if you want to sound more like a native? I'm fine, thank you. Actually, sometimes I might say I'm fine, especially if I think the other person doesn't really care how I'm doing. But if you don't want to just sound boring, then you might want to try one of these. I'm pretty good. I'm doing great. I'm awesome. Never been better. Can't complain. And actually, you can use any alternatives to good instead of saying I'm fine. So I highly recommend that after you finish this lesson, you check out this other lesson that we did over on our Learn English with TV series channel. Finally, with these last two, we'll have you sounding more polite and doing it like a native would. Thank you, sir. Well, actually, sir should probably only be used in the most formal of situations. So I would actually probably say, thanks, I appreciate it, or appreciate it, you're the best, it means a lot to me. Oh, you shouldn't have. Or I might even say, I owe you one. And then in school, what did they teach you to say after someone says thank you? You are so very welcome, my good friend. Well, if you want to sound a little bit more natural, you could try no worries, no problem, don't mention it, my pleasure, happy to do it. So I actually have one more native vocabulary tip for you, and that is don't say sorry. But you will find that exclusively over on our Instagram page. And while you're there, I highly recommend that you follow us for new tips, inspiration, lessons, and so much more. All right, so now moving on from vocabulary, let's take a look at some native grammar. Now, I'm sure in school they probably taught you about contractions, how they work, and why we use them. But they probably did not emphasize how important they are. Now, natives, we use these much more often than not. So if you're not using them, you could sound a little bit robotic again. So I'm not going to cover the most common ones, which I think you probably already know, but let's take a look at some ones that are more special that maybe you haven't encountered before, but that natives definitely use all the time. I also highly recommend that you pay close attention to pronunciation. What did you do this weekend? What did you do this weekend? Why did you do that? Why'd you do that? Where will you eat dinner? Where will you eat dinner? When are you arriving? When are you arriving? Here are the reports. Here are the reports. John will love this present. John will love this present. Andrea is coming. Andrea is coming. The learners would understand. The learners would understand. That would have been a good idea. That'd have been a good idea. I would have enjoyed it. I'd have enjoyed it. So start using contractions whenever possible, in informal situations, in business situations, and in formal situations. And if you want to learn more about how to use contractions, I highly recommend our lesson on how to speak English fast. Now, if you're following these tips so far, then you're probably already sounding much more like a native, but I still have a few more for you. So in school, they taught you to always say have like this. Let's see, would have, could have, should have. No, that's all wrong. It should be woulda, coulda, or shoulda. Now, you've probably already seen those ones, so let's look at a couple more common ones that you might not know about. Might have, must have. That's wrong too. I would say mighta or musta. Hey, so if you're enjoying this lesson, then you're going to absolutely love our Power Learning Week. So this will help you to continue to speak more naturally and understand fast-speaking native. You will improve your pronunciation, increase your vocabulary, and learn all about American culture. So you can sign up for that for free by clicking up here or down the description below. And I look forward to seeing you inside. All right, so now let's finish up with some connected speech. And in case you don't know what that is how natives cut and then connect our words together. So the first one we're going to look at is T plus Y. Now, the Y part of this is almost always you or your. And as a bonus tip for you, we usually reduce your to your. So when we have a T plus a Y sound, it morphs into a ch sound. So let's take a look at how Serious Sam and Street Stan would pronounce these. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. What you're saying is true. What you're saying is true. I don't want you to. I don't want you to. So very similarly to how we just saw T plus Y becomes ch. When we have a D plus a Y, it becomes j. How did you know? How'd you know? Where did you go? Where'd you go? Would you help? Would you help? Too bad your friend did not come. Too bad your friend didn't come. All right, so I hope those 11 tips have helped you to get a lot more confidence with your speaking and will also help you to relax and enjoy when you're watching a TV series or you're speaking with a native friend or another friend who speaks English with you. Now, be sure to subscribe for more lessons like this. And now it's time to go beyond the classroom and live your English. Aw, yeah. What is up, guys? I'm Ethan, your Real Life English Fluency Coach, and in today's lesson, we are going to talk about 6 things that you need to do every day in order to improve your English communication skills.